At this time, I would like to call to order the Monday, July 20th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. At 4:30, we had a work session discussing data centers and possible regulations of data centers. And at this time, I would ask for Pastor Jimmy Foster to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Let's pray.
As we ask for guidance from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, we pray that you give those in this meeting wisdom, discernment, humility, as they carry out the responsibilities that you have entrusted to them. Guide every discussion and every decision that is made here tonight. We thank you for Currituck County. We thank you for the people of Currituck County, for the first responders, the educators, the farmers, the members of our military, the people who come here for vacation, the churches, and all who call this place home. Bless them with safety, with health, and with hope. We pray for this meeting. Help it to be conducted with a shared commitment to the common good. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Foster. Next item on the agenda is the ethics awareness and conflict of interest statement that our county attorney will read.
Pursuant to GS 153A-44, a commissioner has a duty to vote on matters coming before the board, but may be excused from voting on issues involving the commissioner's own financial interest, official conduct, or on matters on which the commissioner is prohibited from voting under GS 14-234 or 160D-109. In accordance with Chapter 2, Division 3 of the Currituck County Code of Ordinances, it is the duty of every commissioner to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any commissioner have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before the Board of Commissioners in this meeting? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict.
Does anyone have a conflict? Hearing none, thank you. Our next item is public comment.
Approval of agenda.
Oh, there I go. I'm trying to get through the meeting tonight. Next item is approval of agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a motion for approval?
Second.
A second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go to public comment. We have one person signed up. Carol Slamowitz from Corolla. Please give your name and address for the record.
Carol Slamowitz, 2156 Shad Road, and that's in Corova Beach. I'm coming here before you guys as the president of North Beach Preservation Alliance. We sent an invitation to the Board of Commissioners on July 6th, inviting you guys to come out to the 4x4 beach. And I'm going to include the attorney and the county manager as well in our invitation. But we wanted to invite you guys to come out for a tour of the 4x4 by a professional tour company, Outer Banks, Corolla Outback Adventures, and then followed with a tour from the ramp down the beach to past the Laughing Gull, Coast Guard Station, and to the fence, and then over the dune, coming back behind the dune to Corova Park, which you guys spent some money on recently renovating. And then we would stop at the park and grab a bite and spend some time talking to you guys about the 4x4. So we came out here all the way from Corova to invite you personally. We hadn't heard, so we thought we'd do that.
Did you send that invitation to us individually?
We sent it to Leanne Walton.
I hadn't forwarded it yet. I
Oh.
wanted to talk to,
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking.
clear some things up.
Yeah.
So the invitation was for August 21st, 3:30. We would pick you up at the Government Center in Corolla and bring you out to the 4x4. And rain date would be the 28th of August. So, Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a busy time of year, but we really wanted you guys to experience the 4x4 during the summertime, just to get an idea of, what residents are living in the summertime. Also, we talk about things like the access ramp, and we talk about the Laughing Gall. You have to see it. A picture does not do it justice. Driving down the beach does not do it justice. Describing it does not do it justice. You have to experience it. And then when it comes up and we're discussing things to do with the 4x4, then you can put it in a perspective. But we love where we live, and we'd love to share it with you. And so, yeah, I hope you guys do come out, inviting the county manager and the attorney and planning and zoning. If you guys will join us, that would be great.
I will be out there Saturday writing county ordinance violations to people not abiding by the rules and probably working the ramp.
Well, see, you know what that is,
Oh, yeah.
but we would love for everybody here to put a perspective on what that is like, especially with things like the Laughing
I will
Gall.
say, my air conditioning business, I'm always up there, so I've had to drive up and close to the dunes with the water's hitting my truck and going around it. I've seen it all.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
It's
but
fun.
maybe not everybody has. So,
No, but you're right. It's fun up there.
I will tell you,
sometimes.
Carol, that for all of us to go is a meeting issue that everybody is going to have to work through, our attorney and our clerk, as to how to facilitate that without violating open meetings law.
And just so
Absolutely.
you know, Carol, both Commissioner Rose and myself, we will be in Durham for the state convention that Friday. So the 21st will not be possible for me or Ms. Rose.
if we have enough notice, maybe we can accommodate. We'll do the best we can. Getting a big group of people together is always a
Yeah,
challenge.
maybe
so,
you break it up in two different groups. You don't have
so-
a full commissioner body then.
if we can work with you, and you work with us, because setting up the tours is quite a thing. But we'd love to have you out there, and again, experiencing the beach.
We will figure it out.
I know,
And
right?
thank you for driving all the way around here to visit us tonight.
Absolutely, the boat trip was not. It was conditional on weather, so we decided to drive. Anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you. That is the only person I have signed up for public comment. Would you like to speak? Yes, please. All right, please come forward and give us your name and address and what you'd like to speak about.
Hello, my name is Vernon Potter. I live at 112 Currituck, 112 Womack Drive in Currituck. My apologies for not putting my name on the list. New to this. I wanted to come out specifically because we had gotten the notification that you all would be speaking with Timmons as far as AI data centers, and we weren't specifically sure the council's viewpoint of data centers. We did come in and sit in on that talk. On the 5th paragraph of the History of Currituck website, there is a sentence that says, a big characteristic of Currituck is the love of the land and the willingness to keep it. Companies like Timmons does not understand this love for the land like we do. The name of this land of Currituck was given to us by the natives, meaning land of the wild goose, and I believe it should stay that way. Timmons will not tell you that AI data centers, specifically AI ones, use about 100,000 times more power than a common household, or rather 100,000 households worth of power. My apologies. They do not tell you, and that comes from the World Resources Institute. They do not tell you that the jobs that they say are created are usually contracted out to other companies. For an example, Meta or Facebook created their own AI data center up in Louisiana, and that was contracted out to Calpine, which is based out of Texas. So many of the people that had to live where that data center is being built weren't even a part of that construction. Many of the tax breaks are usually given to businesses, and normally the counties have to eat some of the price, so to say. I know you spoke about the solar panel specifically, something that was promised, didn't quite go that way. And I think that is something that people all around America are going to be dealing with data centers. I believe it was Joe Hines, who works for Timmons, was trying to kind of sales pitch not fully, just kind of trying to tell you some facts about it, even though he does work for Timmins. Though he says pollution was not that bad as far as water, air pollution is still very much a thing, and what goes up must come down. And we have many farmers here, and they would definitely be affected by things like air pollution and noise pollution, as much as he says that it is just a small hum outside his door. And that those emissions would affect many of the residents, 9 of the parks that Currituck has, and the multiple nature reserves that also lie within Currituck's boundaries. So I was pleased of some of your distaste for the Timmins meeting. That did put a little bit of faith and happiness into my soul. But I just want to let you know that at least one resident of Currituck is very much against data centers, and I hope many other residents would be as well.
Thank you, sir. Come anytime. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're going to move into our quasi-judicial evidentiary hearings. The first one is PB 84-11, Corolla Light Phase 10, deferred from May 8th, 2026, Board of Commissioners meeting. Request to amend the sketch plan special use permit for the Corolla Light Plan Unit development to remove open space designations and add a dwelling unit for a total of 3 additional dwellings as part of the Beach Club at Whalehead. The subject properties are located off Ocean Trail, parcel numbers 115B 000, P2D1 open, and 114J 000COMM-000, Poplar Branch Beach Township. I'm not sure which staff member is. Oh, yes. So at this time, we have nobody signed up that they were going to speak for or against, but if you plan to speak, you need to come forward and be signed in, sworn in. I'm going to ask you to place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand.
This one for Corolla.
That is just for Corolla.
For the Corolla.
Just for the
Yeah.
first item.
You're later.
You're next.
Yeah, this is
Not-
just for Corolla.
Yeah, you're not quasi-judicial.
All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening to the board. As you mentioned, this is an evidentiary hearing related to the Corolla Light Plan Unit development. Here's a vicinity map showing the parcels that are proposed to be adjusted tonight with respect to the Corolla Light PUD. You can see here there's a pond. This is Corolla Light Town Center, of course, the Whalehead Club, the Historic Corolla Park, rather, here. Beach Club at Whalehead here, and then the Corolla Village Road access. And you can see these highlighted parcels. This one within the Beach Club proper, and then this being an adjacent parcel that was designated on the sketch plan as open space. Just showing you that a little bit closer. You can see here that it's zoned SFO, single-family Outer Banks, but it does have the overlay, the plan unit development overlay in Corolla, and is part of the Corolla Light PUD and is subject to the sketch plan for the PUD. The Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan classifies this portion of the site in pink as G4, which is village centers, and this area where the pond is as G2, which is controlled growth. The site is also located within the Corolla Village Small Area Plan area, and you can see that it's designated there in blue as mixed use. I wanted to show the overall sketch plan for the board. Just to go over how these are legacy zoning districts, the PUDs. There's transitional provisions of the ordinance that we have to ensure are complied with any changes to those PUDs. So these developments were master planned, and so any development within that PUD is subject to the master plan. And with that, so you can see that there's lots of residential lots that have already been created, and most of these have been recorded. This also lays out commercial as well as open space. So in a plan unit development, the maximum density is 3 dwelling units per acre. The maximum commercial area is 10%, and the minimum open space required is 35%. And you can see here that the PUD, the Crowlite PUD, is currently just under the 10% allowable commercial percentage. This particular application is requesting a 0.44 acre deduction in the overall open space. You can see that 35% is required, and after that change, there will be about almost 48% open space still in the PUD. And you can see how that breaks down with active and passive as well as visual. And then the residential density. And you can see they're adding 1 unit of density to the PUD. So that will bring the total density for Corralite up to 2.511 dwelling units per acre. Here's an overview of the existing beach club that shows the duplexes that have already been built, the pool amenity that's been built, as well as pickleball court. And then the existing commercial structure that was there, it used to be the Brindley building, laundry facility, was converted into 4 units, 1 being a clubhouse for the beach club property, and the other 3 being rental units for commercial purposes. So this request is virtually amending the sketch plan to add 1 additional unit of density to the beach club parcel, which will bring it up to 69. So there are currently 66 improved dwelling units on the property, and to reduce the open space, which was designated on the PUD in this area, by 0.44 of an acre. So let's see. And then they have shown the proposed development plan that will need to go through the major site plan process prior to development if this sketch plan is approved tonight. So I went over the request, and you can see the existing use. There is a dry pond area that they were also using as a dog park. It's part of the common element here on the beach club property. This will also be used as a stormwater basin, and they are adding some additional parking for the residential units. So 3 new residential units. You can see they're relatively small, 624 square feet. Cabin A, Cabin B, and Cabin C. And they are adding 6 parking spaces here. Because there are, they're going to continue to use the existing access for the beach club that's already there off of NC 12 as well as Corral Village Road. There were some heritage tree replacement trees required with the beach club when it was initially permitted because of the live oaks that were being removed for that project. And so they used this adjacent parcel for some of the replacement of those heritage trees. If this is approved, they will then move some of those trees to this adjacent portion of the property that they still own, so they can retain the trees that were required to be planted. With respect to lighting, I believe the staff report says there's no lighting, but they did provide a full cutoff wall pack lighting, so minimal lighting, and a photometric plan that shows that there's no lighting impacts along the property boundaries for the 3 new units. This is the elevation that was provided. Any questions on the application so far? No? Okay. So I did mention earlier that the portion where the pond exists is designated G2 controlled growth. In your agenda packet, there's a description of what that is. It's medium density residential developments and neighborhood scale commercial nodes. And then the beach club portion being a G4 classification, which is a more compact street network, well-developed pedestrian network, and readily available water or wastewater. There's some land use plan policies that are in your agenda packet. that may be relevant when you're considering this request. Policies regarding encouraging development to occur at densities appropriate for the location, and considering the factors here, as well as considering the small area plan policies, community character and visions, protecting natural resources and promoting sustainable tourism, infrastructure and county services goals related to providing sufficient services to support growth. There's some specific Corolla land use policies, again, to consider the community's concerns over overdevelopment and beach crowding, encourage development of workforce housing, and G2 controlled growth to encourage existing plan unit developments to continue to develop according to the master plan in order to achieve a more efficient use of land, a higher level of amenities, and creative design. And for a special use permit to be approved, the applicant needs to demonstrate that the proposed application is in compliance with the UDO and will not endanger the public health or safety, not injure the value of adjoining or abutting lands, and will be in harmony with the area in which it's located, will be in conformity with the land use plan, and will not exceed the county's ability to provide adequate public school facilities. The TRC has reviewed the application with respect to the UDO standards. The application is in compliance with those. And then again, a major site plan must be submitted for review and approval prior to construction. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board has at this time.
Two quick questions. On the replacement of the heritage trees, what trees will they have to plant?
So half of the replacement trees have to be live oak, and the others could be an understory tree like a crepe myrtle or a different type of canopy tree.
Okay, and is the request within the density limits allowed under the previous approval?
Under the previous approval.
Or the PUD?
Under the transitional provisions of
Yeah.
1.8, the request will bring the density to a little over 2.5, I believe, which is less than the 3 dwelling units.
And they
maximum.
could go up to 3?
Up to 3.
So do you anticipate they're going to come back in the future to do more? Or,
On this particular site,
right, it's probably not.
I do not anticipate that. The applicant could probably
Okay.
speak to that better.
I was just looking at how it's built out. There's not a lot of space left. Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Well, when you said the question, when I was writing down, when you said something about the parking spaces, was that 6 parking spaces per, or that was just 6
6
parking?
new.
6 total
2
parking?
per dwelling.
2 per dwelling unit.
That they're new dwelling unit, right? So
So
there's
I
already.
I didn't know if it was like 6 per one, so
No,
6 total.
no.
Okay.
All right, anyone else?
That's a lot.
All right, I guess next be the applicant's presentation.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Kraus Gray. I'm the attorney for the applicant. May I ask Ms. Turner a question or two?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Turner, you were kind enough, I believe, to provide to Mr. Bissell a document called Adequate Public Facilities - Schools.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And with 3 new units, that would comprise, according to this, less than 1 student total?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stand here 1 second, then I'm gonna go sit down. State your name,
Mark Bissell.
and I believe you've been before this board once or twice.
Maybe a couple more times than that, yeah.
Tell me about your qualifications, please.
I'm a registered professional engineer. I've been practicing engineering in northeastern North Carolina for more than 40 years now. I've appeared before this board for the first time in 1984 and have been invited back, believe it or not, many times since then.
I would request be qualified as an expert on design plans meeting the Currituck County Unified Development Ordinance special use permit requirements.
Is there any objection from any board members for him being an expert witness? There are no objections.
So this is a blow-up of the development we're talking about. It's just a little bit bigger than what Ms. Turner just showed you, but this is what's known as the Corolla, or the Beach Club at Whalehead, which is about an 8.5 acre tract here with the 66 units that you talked about. And we're talking about that in this adjacent tract, which is about a 1.85 acre open space that is serving as an existing stormwater pond. And right here is where there's a dog park currently there. It's being used by the residents of this phase, but it's not actually part of the declaration. So the development has 4 commercial units and 66 residential units. Of the 68 that have been approved, they range in size from about 800 to over 1,800 square feet. This is really the area that we're talking about developing right here on the north end of that pond. So the proposal is to add 3 cottages. We have 2 units of density left over from the Beach Club original approval. There is 1 additional unit of density that's being requested. If this PUD were developed at the full 3 units per acre, there would be an additional 118 units permitted within Corolla Light. We're asking for 1. Also, we're shifting 3,500ths of an acre of community open space to Phase 10. Now, that is not all coming out of open space. Just to show you on the plan, the area we're talking about is this area in green. That's the 3,500ths of an acre. And there's a discrepancy. Jenny had talked about 4,400, so we did actually in the initial application ask for 4,400ths of an acre. We amended the boundary of that as we developed the design, and now it's approximately 3,500ths of an acre. So the PUD actually has 48% open space right now, so which is an additional 35 acres of open space over the requirement. We're asking for about 1% of that to be shifted. And again, it's the majority of that 3,500ths of an acre will still remain open space. It'll just be part of Phase 10 rather than part of the community association overall. So that'll become an amenity officially for Phase 10. The remaining open space in this tract, which is about 1.5 acres, is scheduled to be transferred to the Corolla Lake Community Association.
But you said nobody, the dog park's not really being used really anymore? Nobody uses the dog park?
Oh, it's being used. It's just not part of the Phase 10 declaration.
Oh.
It hasn't actually been dedicated
Okay.
as an amenity for the phase, which we're proposing to do as part of this application. So the development that you see in tan here would really be permitted by right. It's the development in pink that we're really asking for, which is that 1 additional unit of density and the parking to go with it. And this shows how the other units would fit onto the site.
So Mark, let me get it straight. You know, I'm a little slower than the rest of the guys. So you got approval to build 2 units.
Right.
You're just here tonight asking for 1 additional unit.
That's correct. And we're showing you what the other 2 are going to look like that were approved
Okay.
as part of the original density.
And you just want C right now?
Okay,
Okay.
keep going. I'm sorry.
So water and sewer lines are available on the site and capacity is available. Stormwater is being managed right here on the site. So just to look at the SUP criteria, the public health and safety criteria, the design accommodates vehicular traffic as well as emergency vehicles. The county fire marshal was satisfied with it. As I mentioned, water and sewer services are available. Stormwater management is being provided. Just to kind of go over the harmony, Kim Tate is the appraiser who will be providing more testimony on values in harmony, but the site is, as Jenny indicated, mixed use in the Corolla small area plan and as part of the PUD. It is a compatible design. The size of these units is right in between the range of units that's already in this phase. I will point out that during the community meeting, we had a unit that was proposed over in this area, and one of the residents who backs up to the development was concerned about the proximity, so that was actually relocated to the other side of the site to make it close to the commercial development and away from the adjacent residential development, and that seemed to satisfy that concern. It is compatible with, or in conformance with land use Corolla policies 1.5 and 2.2, primarily having to do with encouraging the development of workforce housing. And this actually is targeted for workforce. It's not limited, but targeted for as a workforce housing. And of course, to encourage PUDs to develop according to the master plan and to encourage innovative development. In Parks and Recreation policies 1.5 and 3.2. Also, as Ms. Turner mentioned, it's a mix of G2 and G4, and this development is compatible with both classifications. Regarding the adequate public school facilities, we did obtain a copy of the latest school attendance records from the end of last year, and there is capacity available in all of the schools. As indicated, we may have one additional student generated by this development, and there is capacity in the elementary school as well as in the middle school and high school for additional students as of the end of last school year. We're not really anticipating there are going to be students here, but they could be accommodated. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions?
Mr. Bissell, when you say it is encouraging the development of workforce housing, how is it?
These are units that are really tailored to people who work in the Corolla area, and we were actually hoping that it would provide housing for people who actually work in the adjacent commercial development in the shopping center there.
Okay.
And how do you ensure that?
Well, we can't really ensure that.
So it's just a goal.
It's a
It's not
goal.
really an intent. It's a goal.
It's an intent, but it's not a requirement. I mean, so we can't really limit the occupancy to people who work in the village.
So then it's a goal. It's not really an intent. Okay.
I'm just curious, originally when this was approved, I believe in 2021, for 66 units, is that right?
For 68, I believe.
68, but you did 66?
66 were actually constructed.
Okay, but you haven't done the other two?
Right.
And now you want 69, one extra, but you're still going to have adequate open space.
We will.
Okay.
Still have. And most of the land that's being transferred actually will remain as open space.
I think the original zoning allowed up to 118, is that what you said?
118 additional units would be permitted at the 3-unit per density allowance. We're right now at, I think, 2.51.
Anyone else? All right.
I'd like to introduce Kim Tate to provide additional testimony. Criteria number 2.
I'm going to do the same thing again. Sorry. State your name
Kim Tate.
and how are you employed, sir?
I'm the, excuse me, I'm the owner of Tate Appraisal and Consultation
And I believe you appeared before this board before?
a few times.
A few times. I would ask that you qualify him as an expert on valuations of properties, including change in zoning and how it may impact.
Any board member have an objection? Hearing none.
I go sit down.
I was contacted by Mr. Bissell with excuse me, I'm choking off, with the Bissell Group to take a look at this, to decide and determine if there was any kind of impact, good, bad, or indifferent, relative to the addition of these units. As we've stated before, there are 3 additional units, but 2 of them have already been approved. So really, they're looking for 1 additional unit. I'm familiar with this project. As an appraiser, I did some appraisals back in the early stages of this for different clients that were getting mortgages. So I saw how it came along and was being built. So I do have a little bit of knowledge about this project from the ground up. I took a look at it, once again, going back to the market, trying to determine what kind of impact this might have on adjacent and abutting properties. The best way to do that is to look at sales analysis, to see properties that are adjacent to increased development, to see if that more intense use impacts the valuation of these properties. Paired sales analysis was used using sales and resales of properties that were adjacent to developments proposed and or under construction to determine the impact of construction of developments, as well as the impact of increased intensity of development use on existing properties. This is just to the west of the residential single-family section of Currituck, which backs up to it. The houses that are on the west side of Franklin Street and Baldwin Court back up to this property. Some of them are a little more spread out because of the pond that they pointed out on the map. Some of them, as you get closer around to the north end and Franklin takes a turn, Baldwin Court is right there and directly backs up to it. There was one resale there on Baldwin Court of an existing home which sold in October of 2020, and again in October of 2022, and then again in October of 2025. This is during the time frame that the Beach Club was proposed, in the process of getting their approvals, in the process of determining how they're going to move forward, and under construction, as well as in the final phases of current completion. This series of sales reflects an overall average increase of about 8.3% from the first transaction in October of 2020 to the final transaction of 2025. Now keep in mind, this property was not an ocean proximate property. It's probably one of the furthest ones away from the ocean relative to that section of Currituck. Going back in and looking at the overall single-family market, just to have something to compare that to, I recognize these are condos, but I've got an additional analysis that goes along with that. The review of all single-family homes in Oceanside Currituck from 2020 to 2025, which is a broader period of time, reflects an overall appreciation rate of a little over 10% annually on a non-compounding straight line basis. However, this percentage tends to be skewed a little bit higher because that takes into account ocean proximate properties. And ocean proximate properties, whether they be semi-ocean front or ocean front, tend to draw a higher rate of appreciation because of all things considered. Their land is more valuable, the rents are higher, they're more in demand, they're not making any more ocean front, it is what it is, so people are paying more for those. Those were included in that whole sample of oceanside Corolla. Once again, we stuck with the ocean side of Corolla versus the west side because that tends to be a little bit different of a beast. Then we took a look at resales within the subject project to take a look and see what impact the growth of that development had on this project that was growing along. I found 5 sales which had resold since their initial new construction purchase, that had sold at various times between when it was built and sold the first time and then sold the second time. These homes transferred anywhere from 2023 to 2026. Resales of existing units in the subject project, which resold during the construction phases portions of the project from 2022 to 2026, support an average resale appreciation rate of 17.95% annually, once again, on a non-compounded straight line basis. These 5 sales show a fairly high return of appreciation, and it may be because the Beach Club is kind of a unique condominium project. It's also one of the newer condominium projects in Oceanside Corolla, so I would expect that it would have a higher rate of return. A review of all resales of condominiums on the ocean side of Corolla, taking a look at everything from one end of Corolla to the other. Once again, I'm speaking only on the pavement. There's nothing included relative to the four-wheel drive section. The review of those showed an appreciation rate of about 10.58%, which is substantially less than what we saw an appreciation rate within the subdivision, which is telling me that the impact of the construction that was going on at the time these houses sold and resold, the increased intensity, granted, it was approved for the 66 or 68, and then these houses were built. However, these people were buying them knowing there's going to be more construction, there's going to be more houses going in there. It did not seem to have an impact on potential buyers. And the third thing I did is I just spent some time interviewing different people, different players in the market up there, from real estate brokers to developers to property managers. Property managers have a real good insight on properties up there because they can tell you what they get the phone calls about, what owners complain about relative to projects changing and things changing within projects. Interviews with active brokers, developers, and builders regarding changes to subject project indicate a consensus that these changes would not negatively impact overall appeal or marketability of units in the subject project, given the minimal increase in intensity of use and the small number of additional users, coupled with the ability to spread out any increase in these costs over the project maintenance and operation costs of these additional units, meaning that versus having 66 units to spread any long-term maintenance fees and all that, they're going to be spread over 69 units because these units are going to have to pay their portion just like everybody else. Once again, everybody pretty much resoundingly said that that's not a significant enough number to have an impact on marketability or value from the standpoint of buyers or renters. These properties, you've got to consider the rental income, because that's pretty much, some people are buying them for purely second homes, beach getaways, but a lot of them are being rented for vacation rentals. My overall conclusion, based on the analysis I did, is that the proposed changes regarding the beach club at Whalehead will not injure the value of adjoining or abutting lands and will be in harmony with the area that it's located in.
All right, anyone have any questions of Mr. Tate? Thank you.
Good.
Just a couple of quick follow-ups, if I might. You know, as attorneys, we got to be, we got to speak, and B, we got to make sure the documents are in. First, I would request that we be allowed to put in qualification real estate appraising for Kim B. Tate, his, I can never pronounce it, curriculum vitae. And he prepared a written report memorializing the information he just articulated to you. I'd like to put that into the record, if I might. Also, there's been testimony concerning the adequate public facilities schools that was provided dealing with the schools and accessibility. I'd like to put that into the record as well, if I might.
Anyone object? No objections.
Nope. Just a couple of quick points, if I might. One, there was voiced a concern at one point in time about access to this property for these 3 units. And you may have noted when you saw the plat, there's literally a roadway that walks right straight out of this property.
Kraus, can you please speak into the microphone? There you go.
You want me to
That's
talk
better
into the
than
microphone?
Memorex.
That way that everybody out there watching can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm loud and I apologize. Anyways, there is a direct access that goes onto Franklin Street, if you noted on the plat. So it's not like these people are going to go every time right straight through the entire rest of the development. They're most likely to go through there. And I control that. I can't guarantee that, but that's the most likely way they'll access it. As indicated, this is part of an existing condominium project. Upon approval, should the commissioners agree to approve this, I will be filing a supplemental declaration to add it and make sure that the common areas are appropriately designated. A question arose about the potential sale of this for purposes of public housing. You can blame me. I'm the one that said, you can't promise that. What we can do is tell you that that is the design we're trying to do. The interior of these will not be the same quality of the interior that the ones that they're selling for the second home market and rental market that they've been selling to. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but I'm just saying that it's not going to be the same as what they're trying to sell. Otherwise, I understand that there's at least 2 people that have already voiced interest in these units. Again, there's no contract, there's no nothing. There's no guarantee to you. Cannot make that to you. And I think the evidence that we've submitted is adequate to show that we've met all the parameters. And the big key, obviously, is the school, which your own study, if one student, actually it's not even a whole student, it's about 3/4 of a student. And I believe you've got adequate capacity for that. Thank you for listening.
Yes, sir. Does anyone have any more questions? We had no one signed up and was sworn in to speak than the professionals and staff, which I'll have to say, for Corolla, that's got to be a first in my lifetime.
It's that one lot.
Huh?
It's that one lot.
Yeah.
Property lot.
So there's no applicant rebuttal, so I will open the public hearing and close the public hearing and ask the Board of Commissioners for their deliberation and decision.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve PB 8411 Corolla Light Phase 10 amended sketch plan special use permit because the applicant has demonstrated the proposed use meets the review standards of the UDO. The use will not endanger the public health or safety. They've taken into consideration vehicular traffic and emergency vehicles. They have met land use policy 1. And encourage development at densities appropriate for their location, including environmentally suited areas, suitable soils, infrastructure, et cetera, as well as Corolla Land Use Policy 1.2. And they've considered the community's concern of overdevelopment and beach crowding and making decisions regarding density. The use will not injure the value of adjoining or abutting lands and will be in harmony with the area in which it's located. It is currently part of a PUD and as a compatible design, and Mr. Tate's testimony testifies to the increase in value of properties. The use will be in conformance with the land use plan and other officially adopted plans, including Corolla policies 1.2, 2.2, Parks and Rec policies 1.5 and 3.2, as they have a mix of both G2 and G4 and are compatible with both. And finally, the use will not exceed the county's ability to provide adequate public school facilities, as it will not generate even one student and therefore is not an impact on our adequate public facilities.
Board has a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. Next is legislative hearings. PB 26-04 evolved, item deferred from July 6, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting. Request to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 4, 5, and 10 to add a pool contractor use permissible in the general business, light industrial, and heavy industrial zoning districts with allowance for increased outdoor storage and display area. Ms. Turner. Oh,
Hello.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to everyone. As you said, this is a request for a text amendment to allow a new use in the Unified Development Ordinance for pool contractors, which would be allowed in general business, light industrial, and the heavy industrial zoning districts. Just a little bit of background about how we ended up here with this request today. Evolve came in to the office and went through the process for a major site plan for a contractor services use. They were approved for that use, and this was the site plan that was approved that you can see here. Some of the things that the ordinance requires for contractor services use that they were in compliance with this site plan include this outdoor storage area, which should not be more than 25% of the buildable area of the lot. And that included vehicular circulation areas here and storage areas for pools here. There's also a requirement that this storage area and circulation area be located behind the principal or beside or behind the principal structure, which is located here. So you can see they were meeting that at the time. And the other requirement is that this area be incorporated into the overall design of the principal structure. They had proposed a fenced and gated area here, which kind of screened and connected this storage area to the principal structure. This is an as-built of what was constructed after the site plan was approved. You can see the gravel area here, which was for vehicular circulation, and then out here would have been the storage area. There was an addition of this gravel cross connection from the existing parking lot to the vacant area in the front of the lot. And it became apparent over time that Evolve's operations were not able to be conducted back here in the designated area, so it eventually spilled out over into the front portion of the lot, and where you could see it when you were driving down the highway. And so he came in with a text, Jordan Vanneker came in with a text amendment, and his original request was for an allowance for businesses that deal in bulk items to have additional outdoor storage and so on and so forth. We encouraged him at the time to maybe go for a pool contractor business, just to make it more specific and maybe mitigate some of the potential negative impacts on adjoining uses and the appearance of the corridor. After looking through the ordinance, it became apparent that all of the uses that involve the storage or circulation of heavy equipment were only allowed in the light and heavy industrial zoning districts. And uses needing more than 25% of outdoor storage, which was what was allowed for contractor services, should be located in the industrial zones as well. Any questions about any of that before I go through the proposed text amendment?
Anyone have any questions?
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Is there current areas, or there's there current spots in Currituck County where something like this could be built already or established?
You mean zoning, in a different zoning
Yeah,
district?
but different areas of the county that something like this could be put in. I mean, do we have light industrial or the places?
Yeah, yes.
There's property that something like this can be established on.
We do have available light and heavy industrial
Okay,
zoning.
that's okay. All right, thank you.
Good? Okay.
Yeah, continue.
All right. So you can see here the request to add pool contractor into the use table. Again, allowed in general business, light and heavy industrial, with some specific standards. That the outdoor storage area shall maintain a 100-foot setback from the front property line and be screened in accordance with section 4.3.3S, which requires an opaque fence. No more than one pool may be tilted upward for the purpose of display that shall maintain a 50-foot setback from the front property line and shall include landscaping that encompasses the entire base of the pool. Required landscaping shall contain an appropriate combination of shrubs, ground cover, and understory trees as approved by the director. So the applicant would propose a landscaping plan and we would approve. And this, I forgot to mention earlier, was also part of the original request that Evolve wanted to have the ability to put up a display pool with some nice landscaping and stuff around it. So we added that in here. Pool contractor uses may include outdoor storage areas that are exempt from the requirements of section 4.3.3S1 and 2. And I'll show you what those are here in just a moment. And that outdoor storage areas may occupy up to 50% of the lot's buildable area. So twice as much as currently allowed with contractor services. And that S1 and 2 that they would be exempt from are the ones that require the outdoor storage area to be incorporated into the overall design of the principal structure. And that the outdoor storage area shall be located to the side or rear of the principal structure. Because of the way they're operating currently, they would need to be exempt from those requirements.
Yeah. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Just while I'm thinking about it, when you say allowable tilting of a pool,
Yep.
is there any requirements on a UDO or anything for securing that pool for high winds or hurricanes so it doesn't go rolling down the road or into a house or something? Or does it have to be secured? Is there something there that states how it's secured?
Not in the ordinance. That would probably be something that the building inspector would require for some anchoring.
Okay. Secure. Okay. Thank you.
This would be like a permanent, like they're not going to change it every week. This is like a.
I wouldn't imagine they would change it, but I don't know the answer to that for sure.
Okay.
You can ask the applicant.
Jason, is this text amendment applicable to any other type of business other than pool contract services for the storage and the percentages? Or is it this just specifically
Yes.
for pool services?
Yeah, so currently any number of businesses may qualify as contractor services, which is already in the ordinance, which requires a 25%. This is specific just pool contractors only.
So that all the pool contractors that we currently have down the south end of the county, they could use this as well.
Yes.
And if a new contractor come in.
And
they
new
could
ones.
use this. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
But I think the ones in the south end of the county, if they were to use this, they would have to update.
Certainly, I think even this is more restrictive than what we have in the lower end of the county.
Yeah, it's more than the.
Exactly.
Right, but they'd all follow this guideline, the existing.
Those are currently non-conforming.
Right.
Yeah,
So they can continue to do what they're doing unless,
unless they went to this or something.
Why would they, right?
yeah.
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 Exactly. I have another question. So with this text amendment, if it passes, will the applicant be in full compliance with the rest of the UDO, or are there still outstanding violations and issues that have not been addressed?
All the violations and issues that we've had were simply just that he was outside of the designated fenced area.
Okay.
There were some other issues with signage and stuff that we've worked through before today. So he did install a fence that comes out further than what this allows you to use as storage and circulation. And that's perfectly okay. So it's just going to be up to how he uses the fenced-in area, whether that complies with the 100-foot setback for the storage or not. So he'll have extra fenced area in front of where he's supposed to be.
But he can't use it
storing.
for storage.
Not supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on. This is the section of the ordinance where you establish the appropriate amount of parking spaces for a use, and the section that is quoted here allows for flexibility in the amount of parking, basically a collaboration between the applicant and the planning director to decide what's appropriate and or acceptable for the parking. So no set parking rule for this one as proposed.
Jason, when you're saying parking, you're talking about just for what he has, I mean, like, obviously I've been to his site before, where the parking where his employees park, somebody's coming in there wanting to, whatever, to meet, that just the parking lot, the paved parking lot itself. Not anywhere else on the property.
Well, they have parking for customers and employees there. Then there's another vehicular storage and circulation and parking area.
For some of
in-
his
in
work
the
trucks
back
and stuff in the back.
for the larger vehicles, yeah.
Okay.
The heavy equipment and stuff. Yep, okay.
Thank you.
This is just a description of industrial service uses. Some example types include machine shops, tool repair, electric motor repair, repair of scientific or professional instruments, heavy equipment sales, rental or storage, heavy equipment servicing and repair, building, and you can see that we added pool and heating and plumbing or electrical contractors. So that the building, heating, and plumbing or electrical contractors are kind of the description used for contractor services, and we've added pool contractors in with that. Here's the definition that's been added for pool contractors: a contractor specializing in the design, construction, repair, and maintenance of swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs, including but not limited to excavation, plumbing, steelwork, concrete, and equipment installation.
So you basically have added pool contractors in with other contractors, whereas before they were not?
No, this is a standalone use, completely on its own, but in the Chapter 10 descriptions of different types of uses, one of which is industrial services, which is where contractor services, the existing use already lives. We've added pool contractors in with that.
Okay.
Pool contractors is gonna have his own definition.
Got it.
But it does have its own definition, correct.
All right.
Here's just some brief descriptions of the three zoning districts that are involved. The General Business District provides locations for a wide range of commercial, office, and service uses that serve residents and visitors while protecting scenic corridors and maintaining compatibility with surrounding development. And it also allows for limited low-density residential uses. The Light Industrial Zone provides locations for low-intensity manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, and related industrial uses designed to minimize impacts on nearby properties through performance and development standards. I would add that zoning district, also the description of that says that the uses located there should limit the outdoor vehicular circulation that's involved with them. And then finally, the heavy industrial zoning district provides locations for large-scale manufacturing, processing, warehousing, and other intensive industrial uses in areas separated from residential and environmentally sensitive lands, recognizing that greater operational impacts are expected. These are some goals and policies from the land use plan that may be relevant to the request. Land use policy 1.3 to consider community character and establish visions for the community. Land use goal 2 to carefully consider design and location of intensive and potentially incompatible land uses. Land use policy 2.1, continue to encourage businesses to coordinate site design with nearby businesses, including shared or connected parking and access. Land use policy 2.3, encourage new industrial uses to locate in existing or planned industrial sites and locate on suitable land with unique locational advantages. Land use policy 2.8, consider adverse effects of development or land use decision. Adverse effects are negative consequences for the physical, social, or economic environment. Land use goal 3, to support new and existing commercial developments that adhere to quality community appearance and design standards, including landscaping improvements and signs tailored to achieve a unique community character. Economic development goal 1, to support the retention and expansion of existing businesses and promote the development of new businesses, especially those that help diversify the local economy and are compatible with the county's natural amenities and environment. And finally, transportation goal 1, to improve safety, traffic flow, access, and appearance of major highways and roads. These are the text amendment review standards. And the staff recommendation. Staff recommends denial of the proposed text amendment as submitted, which would allow a new pool contractor use within the general business zoning district with expanded outdoor storage and display areas and a reduction of outdoor storage standards. The UDO identifies contractor services as an industrial use and permits it within the general business zoning district, despite most industrial use classifications not being permitted in that district. The definition of contractor services describes office-based operations for building, heating, plumbing, or electrical contractors, along with related storage facilities. As structured in the ordinance, this allowance appears to contemplate contractor operations of a limited scale and intensity that are intended to remain compatible with surrounding commercial uses. The proposed pool contractor use with expanded outdoor storage areas and reduction of outdoor storage standards differs in operational characteristics from typical contractor service uses contemplated within the general business zoning district. The requested increase in allowable outdoor storage from 25% to 50% of the buildable area reflects an intensity of use more consistent with industrial service activities. And the summary use table indicates that most industrial uses are not permitted within the general business zoning district, suggesting an intent to limit industrial type impacts such as outdoor storage, equipment staging, and increased site circulation in areas intended for commercial development. Allowing a use with expanded outdoor storage and industrial type operational characteristics would not be consistent with this framework. The requested text amendment is not consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including land use goals 2 and 3, land use policies 1.3, 2.1, 2.3, and 2.8, and transportation goal 1. And I'll share with you the planning board recommendation. The planning board recommended approval, finding that the request is consistent with the general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance and the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including the following policies: a land use plan 1.3, land use goal 2, land use policy 2.1, land use goal 3, and economic development goal 1. The motion also included a condition requiring installation of a type D buffer along the front of the storage area fence, beginning at the sides of the display pool and extending outward with a 50-foot return on both sides.
Can you provide more information on type D buffer?
Yeah, that's the most dense buffer that we have in the ordinance. It's supposed to be fully opaque or close to it.
On the outside of the fence facing the highway.
Correct.
So you
And
would-
then,
It is
and then 50 feet down each side as it turns around the
Okay.
corner to go back.
Is that the fence? Or it would have to be, oh, so this is a buffer in front of the fence?
Yes, on the outside of
Vegetative
the
in
fence.
front of the
Gotcha,
fence.
gotcha.
And on the sides, you say the and on the
Yeah, and
sides as
50
well.
feet
back.
down each side. Yep.
So then that would almost eliminate their display pool then.
Well, it starts on either side of the pool display, it said, and it
Okay.
goes outward to the corners and then back
Okay,
into the lot
okay,
50 feet on both sides.
The fence is pretty tall
6 feet,
and
I
thick,
believe.
solid,
7 feet, sorry.
and it's solid.
It's solid, yep.
So I wonder about the purpose of the dense trees.
Some of the things that are being stored are taller than the 7-foot fence, and the idea being that, like a crane or the pool shells or what have you.
Excavator.
The idea being that
yeah,
once the
machinery.
vegetation matures, that'll be even less visible over time.
What's the, if you don't mind, Jason, me asking, what was this fence that we're talking about, not for storage, this is the one, I believe it was Lot D, I can't remember. This is the one that's closer to the road. Was there still room to put the pool, the display pool, the trees, all that good stuff within the footage of because it's probably what, 75, 80 foot from the road?
I believe he can still meet the 50-foot setback for the pool display on the road side of the fence, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then he'll have some room inside the fence where he won't be allowed to do any storage or circulation until he hits that 100-foot mark, where his outdoor storage is allowed to begin, if according to the requested amendment.
So if he'd had his fence back further, he could have put the buffer there and then still had more space to the road, I guess.
It's just got more fenced in area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
yeah,
more
that-
fence in there.
right, but he
I mean,
can't
that's
use
a couple.
it.
I'll just ask.
So otherwise, if
him a
the fence
question.
was back further, he could have put the buffer a little further.
Yeah.
He's still got room to put it though. Is what I
Yeah,
basically. what I was-
yeah, but
Yeah, we talked about it and made sure that it was gonna work before.
Before,
all that.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
So he can use what's behind the fence, that area for employee parking and what have you?
yeah, it's not drawn on there.
No,
No?
It's not drawn on there.
no.
What
It's
could,
just gonna be open,
okay.
fenced area.
Just a gravel plot,
It should be grass, yeah.
gravel, whatever.
All right, more questions? All right, Mr. Daniker, do you wish to come and speak?
You could just hit up or down if you wanna go to the other ones.
We have two.
Gotcha.
two
Oh,
others.
are they up there? Hey, how's it going? Jordan Daniker, 149 Nautical Lane. Thank you guys for having me. I've actually got, real quick, I think it's worth seeing these photos. This is not the proposed type buffer that the planning board required. Are these photos up now? Let's see here. There's a light one right there. So basically, that's what we're proposing to do, with the exception of where the small shrubs are, increasing the size, kind of like those evergreens that you see right there. So that way, it's not only nice to look at, you know, when we landscape, it's what we do for a living, right? So we're great at those, creating the layers. So although the buffer has certain requirements, what we're going to try to achieve is a nice look. That's what we sell, right? We sell quality. And so for us, the buffer is a very simple request, and we intend to layer it so that it looks nice, you know. This was a more simplified version prior to the planning board's meeting. And there's an overview right here as well, where I actually suggested, the planning board did not require it. I suggested that we return 50 feet up the sides just for a courtesy, so that we met the, you know, requirements of the buffer, which we already have the buffer along the Brothers Keep right there, but we were going to thicken that up. So the intent is to make it look nice, not necessarily to thicken it up, right? We just, sometimes, you know, making it all look dense is not how you create a visually appealing area. So the only thing I really want to speak to about the entire thing is I feel like there was a few things mentioned that aren't, while they're accurate, they don't really align with anything we would have been able to do. For instance, the light industrial in Currituck and heavy industrial is limited to the Fox Knoll Industrial Park, as well as the Currituck County Industrial Park, and then the one in Moyock, I can't think of the name right now, where East Coast Demolition resides. Those are the only 3 zonings, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
There's a few sprinklings more than that, but yeah.
Those are the
But
three
they're
major
already
ones.
in use.
Yeah, there's very little in use. And the one thing I want to point out that is extremely frustrating is that Currituck County, when you guys appointed Larry Lombardi to promote the industrial park in Currituck, my business partner and I, Kyle, walked several parcels with Mr. Lombardi, and he decided that the commissioners at the time decided that we were not a good fit for that area, that pool contractor services was not a good fit. We tried to purchase property there, and in fact, that would have been more feasible and more affordable for us, but we were shunned down from that.
I
So
want to apologize for him telling you that then, because that was inaccurate information, but it's okay.
And that's not the first one we've heard that from.
So I'm sorry you had to deal with that, but it's yeah.
yeah, I accept the apology, and it is what it is. We're here now, right? We're not saying that, to be negative. The board changes. We understand that. But the reality is, I'm sure when anybody's given an opportunity to have a more affordable solution that better fits their need, they're going to accept it. And the ability for us to fit our needs was not there. So we took it into our own hands to create something that would fit for our team. The reality of what we sell is that the percentage does not fit the fiberglass pool shells. By their very nature, the shells are larger. So we're almost penalized for selling larger products, which is, it is a bit frustrating when you're trying to make an impact on the community. Something I tell people all the time about Evolve and the things we're trying to achieve is we've got 17 Currituck County graduates out of a staff of 31. And recently at the high school and the middle school, they're trying to encourage trade programs, and we're leading up their lunch and learns for young kids to learn about the trades. We do multiple crafts, whether it's electrical or plumbing or general contracting at Evolve. And so we're very involved in the community, and we're at the forefront and the center of the community. And I would argue that our facility looks better than a lot of the facilities around Currituck. And the other point to this with the pool contractor services, if we adopted this text amendment and those other pool contractors wanted to do what we wanted to do, they'd actually be, sort of penalized, if you will, because currently they could do more, right? So the rules are even stricter than what the non-conformings, accept. So I feel like this is a simple request, and I don't think it looks, untidy.
Any questions?
I got one. How tall is that pool going to be laying sideways?
Yeah, so the nature of that pool is 8 foot tall. So what we were trying to propose is we never exceeded a 10-foot pool. So there are some pools in other townships where people put these display pools on their sides, and quite
Or
frankly,
they tilt them at 45. Yeah.
they do, and they look ridiculous. I mean, I would agree with that. I would think, encourage anybody to look at the type of work we put out, and we certainly don't appeal to gaudy type scenarios. So this pool here is 19 by 21. It's not to make a statement piece. It's to identify what we sell, right, and what we distribute so that we can, continue to feed our families.
Go ahead.
How tall is it going to be if it's so
8 feet. It's 8 feet wide, the pool. So if you turn it on its
Place
side,
on
it's 8
its
feet.
side.
It's not going to stick above 8 feet above.
Okay.
the ground.
It's
It's
just going to
8
be
feet
slight
by
1 foot above
19
the fence, slightly just above the
Gotcha.
fence.
Thank you.
Yeah, the pool's 8 feet wide by 19 foot. So if you turn it on its side, it's 8 feet wide.
Yeah, well,
8 feet tall.
I heard that, but I thought you said 18 or 19 by 21, and I was like, wait a second. It's
No,
going
I
to be
was
9
just
foot above the
speaking to-
fence.
If you go to Washington, right, Washington County over there, there are several pool, distributors, and there are several pool distributors throughout the years in Currituck where they've stuck a 16-foot tall, which would be the width of the pool, by 40 foot long. And that's what I'm talking about. I agree with Mr. Payment and the fact that it does regardless of anchoring alone, there's no building code that meets, it would be a signage. You'd be adhering to a signage code. And at that point, in my opinion as well, I think it makes more sense to have a smaller pool vessel out there for safety and for, it looks obnoxious if you do something that
That's the only thing I was worried about. It was going to
Yeah.
be like a huge, giant, obnoxious pool.
It's going to be a foot.
Like on the south end of the county where
Yeah.
we're laid up.
Yeah, foot to two. I mean, like 10 foot was the maximum height we were going for. So, I mean, at like the current fence is at 7 foot. So you're, 3
What
foot
do you
taller
do?
than that.
You anchor that concrete pole, you anchor it in somehow or secure it?
Yeah, so we would go with like, in my opinion, there is no code for it, but I would do an 8 foot embedment on the post like we require for.
I just wouldn't want to see that rolling across the highway or something.
Yeah. Well, that makes two of us. I don't think that'd be very. I think we'd get some Facebook likes and views and comments on the Moyoc page, but we probably wouldn't be very popular on selling jobs.
Well, you're in the right place if you're not popular on that page.
Yeah, I'm not looking to win a popularity contest.
And you do more than just pool contractor, though. You're landscaping and do.
We're licensed, Kyle and I, which is my business partner, we're North Carolina licensed general contractors. So we build everything from pool houses to the pools to the outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, masonry, foundations. So pretty much anything but a house.
All right, other questions?
No, I just want to state, I mean, that property, we talk about the corridor all the time of it needs to be cleaned up, it needs to be cleaned up. He purchased something that was abandoned
Used to be a
because he
car
couldn't
dealership,
purchase.
didn't it?
What's
Credit
that?
union.
Cars?
Used to be the bank.
Credit
Used to be
union
the
I
credit
thought
union.
they sold
originally.
some cars too in it.
Yeah, I think it was just side ones, but he purchased something because he couldn't purchase in the other, cleaned it up, fixed it up. It's a nice product, like he said, and like I said, now he's coming before us trying to put the right rules in play, and it's a appealing, attractive look riding down the road. So just commend him for that part of it.
Not to mention, he and Mr. Hatfield are providing numerous job opportunities within our county for our graduates.
Yeah, I just would state too, just remember, I mean, if this does pass though, it is good for the entire county and any business then could.
Any pool
Any
business.
pool business
Yeah.
with land, whatever, could potentially develop this anywheres in the general business, Corolla, if there's, just keep that in mind.
All right.
I do have one question, and I asked Jason, and your fence, and I guess is it lot 4, your fence, the closest fence to the highway, what is that, about 80 foot from the road?
It's actually a lot closer than that. We were, kind of struggling for a solution, and everybody at the county has been incredibly helpful, from the planning board, Jenny and Jason, and I just kind of threw the fence up for a Hail Mary to give us some reprieve while we try to figure out something for the text amendment. So the fence will need to step back a little bit because there's a swell there. The space we're asking for, we spent $70,000 on a stormwater plan for a site that drains well, and we're just going to have open grass. The pools are stored on open grass, so we're not really increasing any stormwater capacity. You can't put them on rocks and gravel because it damages the product. So we will move that back, and it's essentially, we've taken an entire lot that we could build on and made it a grassy field, a lay-down yard. So it doesn't impact anything drainage-wise.
How many pools? And I mean, like I said, this is not a hold you to the number. Ballpark, do you think you'll have on the site at a time, 4 or 5?
Probably closer to 35 to 40.
Okay.
We build about 65 units a year. Like I said, there's 32 of us there. So, I mean, and, again, with those jobs, they're well-paying jobs that have health insurance and 401k. So they're not just, it's a career for a lot of these guys.
You will have that many on site at any given time or over the course of the year?
It rotates, so it doesn't look like it. It's very, like if you were to go out there and look at it, you would probably think there's 10 maybe, but they stack kind of like those Russian dolls. So you can stack like 8 to 10 at a time. So essentially they just look like, they're just stacked buckets, if you will.
Okay.
All right, anyone else? I'm going to open the public hearing. I had no one signed up. Is there anyone that wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask the board for a motion.
I move to approve PB 26-04 Evolve Text Amendment because the request is consistent with the general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance and will not have a negative impact on public health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens and landowners. And the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, it is in compliance with Land Use Goal 3, which aims to support new and existing commercial development that adheres to high-quality community appearance and design standard, and also Economic Goal 1, which supports the retention and expansion of existing business.
Include the requirement.
Type D.
Oh,
Yeah.
do we have to include that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Including a requirement to install a Type D buffer along the front of the storage area fence, beginning at the sides of the display pool and extending with a 50-foot return along both sides of the fence.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 5-minute recess. This time, I'd like to call back to order the Currituck County Board of Commissioners. Our next item is new business, BB 24-26 Barcode Reserve, request to determine if applicant demonstrates a substantial or material change in facts or circumstances of a preliminary plat special use permit. Denial involving a 45-lot residential subdivision. Is that going to be Ms. Turner or?
Introduce the process and then the applicant.
Okay.
I just have for your review the section of the ordinance related to this particular request. So if a development application requiring an evidentiary hearing is denied, no application proposing the same or similar development on all or part of the same land shall be reconsidered unless the applicant submits a new application that clearly demonstrates A, there's a substantial change in circumstances, or B, new or additional information is available that was not available at the time of the review. And the new application to be submitted is materially different, or, that's an or there. And then that this body determines that the application is authorized in accordance with this subsection. So let the applicant come up and share the changes that they're proposing to show that it's either substantially changed or there's new information. And then the board will make the decision. And I was just going to say, if it is determined that it is substantially different, then the applicant will start back at the very first step in the process, and that begins with a pre-application conference with staff, community meeting, TRC, special use permit before the board.
So substantial is subjective.
Well, I was going to ask that question to our attorney. Is there a definition of substantial, or is it our discretion?
It's the board's discretion. There is no definition of substantial.
Can I ask a question too? What about I know last time we discussed some drainage issues and we talked about going from where to where. I know some incorrect terminology, like where the water was going, there was some wrong bodies of water that we were told it was going to.
I don't think that's going to be before the board. I think it's really just a matter of whether whatever they're presenting is material or substantially different than the initial application.
That would be a significant difference from what they presented last time.
If it's going to the, I mean, that's what I was just saying, if it's going to the wrong body of water,
What's
and
the
now
finding?
it's,
This is on the,
They're talking about their
are
plans.
they changing
and-
the plan?
It's the plan.
It's not the stormwater.
That might not be one of the things they're changing. I mean, it might
and I
be,
would
but
hope it's going to the right body of
Well,
water. Okay.
just
Anyway.
Disregard, that was one of my.
okay. All right, who's representing the applicant?
I think we know him.
Yeah, I remember when Mark had dark hair.
And you too.
I think
Yeah,
this
me
board has
too.
contributed to my grayness.
Yeah.
I'm going to be brief. project was denied a little over a year ago, in part because of lack of phasing and the concern that was associated with that, but I think primarily because of stormwater concerns, and there were a lot of people who live on lower ground down the hill from this project who were very concerned about potential impacts of this project on their way of life, on their property, and that had not been adequately addressed. And so we are proposing phasing, but more importantly, we're proposing to design some improvements that will improve the stormwater management, but to go above and beyond and actually do some things that could potentially improve the property of these people compared to where it is now. And we've proposed a couple of options on how to do that. What you're looking at here on the screen, in red there, where it says proposed berm option A, that is the way we would typically handle it in this kind of a situation. But to provide additional protection, we've proposed an option B, which could provide materially better protection for those people. But what we wanted to do was to actually have an opportunity to submit a new application, to have a community meeting where we would actually discuss these options with the residents, get their input into the final design. And so what we would need this board to allow us to make that application in order to be able to initiate that dialogue with the people, with the staff here, and to try to do something that not only makes sense for this project, but that potentially improves the property of those people downstream. And we've also engaged Andy Deal to help us with the stormwater management issue, and Andy's going to come up and talk for a minute about that. But before he does, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you'll have.
So the major changes I'm looking at is just phasing. You're not changing the number of lots, right? You're just phasing. And then you're just moving that line further for the drainage issue. Is that correct?
Well, we didn't have berming proposed at all before, so now we're proposing.
You're proposing phasing now.
And we're proposing phasing and we're proposing berming. We didn't
Right,
propose
but the
either
number of
one.
lots all that stays the same over that.
The number of lots
But
is the
nothing
same.
else changed. Just-
Correct.
Just those
the
two
berm
things. And phasing.
Phasing.
Right, but this, this is intended to address the main reasons that the project was denied.
I was not here the night this project was heard. So I see the red line is proposed berm A, and then the blue line is proposed berm option B. Are you saying that y'all are going to do both of these berms, or you're willing to do whichever one the board and community lands on?
Whichever one the board and community lands on. I don't know that doing both of them would substantially improve the situation.
Okay. And then my next question is that green line, what does that represent?
The green line represents the proposed
Oh,
phase.
phase two. Okay.
So it was proposed to be done in one phase before, and that seemed to be objectionable to the board.
Major change in the.
Are you going to explain berming, or is Mr. Deal going to explain the berming?
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Deal.
Okay.
Good evening. It's for the record, I'm Andy Deal, Deal Engineering, and I have been in front of this board before. The berming, well, first of all, This project, when it was originally proposed to collect the stormwater from, and apparently stormwater is one of the big concerns, or flooding is a big concern for the people that are south of this property. Collect the stormwater from the developed area in a pond and manage it there and discharge to an outfall ditch that's running along the west side of the property there. The berm adds it does fundamentally change what this is. So we're talking about a berm that represents a physical barrier between the developed area and everything else. And berm A, the red, would leave a large open space that just transitions naturally into the properties to the rear. And berm B would actually move that barrier down towards those properties. And we do want to have the flexibility to be able to discuss that with the community of which one that they would prefer. But the berm is serving multiple purposes. It serves a stormwater purpose for me because it allows me to more readily isolate the development and handle my stormwater there, handle flooded areas if they need to occur up there in the development, and then release my water to an outfall ditch in a reduced capacity. The ordinance, you've heard me talk about it before. Our ordinance requires for a subdivision like this for us to release stormwater to our outfall at the same rate in the 10-year post-construction event. So 10-year rainfall event, we've already completely built out. We can't release our water to that outfall ditch any quicker than the wooded site, theoretical wooded site, would have released to it in the pre-construction condition in a 2-year storm. It's a significant reduction, especially considering that the existing condition out there is a farm field, and farm fields runoff from farm fields happens at a much higher rate than it does from wooded property. So it is a significant reduction here. So that red line or the blue line would play a significant role in that. But what it also does by providing an elevated physical barrier is it separates the development from the property to the rear visually in terms of light, air, noise. It provides a physical separation instead of a transition from this development across that open space. We're going to have a physical barrier and then that open space.
You may have said, how tall was the berm going to be again? Approximately?
I don't have that answer.
Okay.
As that really would be part of the design process.
But it would be a significant size to...
Yes. And a berm like this, as opposed to one that's just dedicated to stormwater, this can be landscaped.
Okay.
Let me ask a question. So
Yes.
the purpose of a berm, if I'm hearing you correct, and I'm trying to think like a normal citizen, not an engineer, so forgive me for that. The berm, the purpose is to keep this development's water on their property, correct?
It's multi-purpose.
Is that one of the purposes?
But yes.
Okay. So if you're talking about option B, right now when it rains, those properties that are up against that option B, when it rains, is it safe to say that their stormwater flows onto this property right now? And by building a berm, would it not impede that stormwater from going where it goes right now?
It's part of my job as a designer to make sure that I'm not cutting off drainage to anything. Okay. If we were to construct option B and the adjoiners were flowing into those ditches, then I would be required to provide a ditch on their side of option B as well as on my side to take that water separately over to the outfall.
So the stormwater from the existing properties is a consideration in how you design
Always.
the berm, where you locate the berm?
in all of the designs that I do, yes. For what it's worth, the general pattern here is from north to south. It's the grades are falling off and get very low as you get to those residences to the south. And so the drainage patterns generally are from north to south, with the collector being over there along that west side. And what we would be doing with the berm placed at option A or option B is taking our water and capturing it, not allowing it to continue south, managing it, and then outletting into that outfall ditch on the west end. And again, it would be sent to that ditch at a slower rate than what goes there today, a significantly slower rate.
So the berm would work in conjunction with your stormwater pond?
Yes.
Flowing out to the North River.
Correct. I went and double checked. It's the North River. It's the extensive wetland upper parts of the North River, ultimately, that drains down into the Albemarle Sound. Yes.
So, Andy, again, I wasn't here back in February, but last year when this was first heard, it's my understanding the people that lived on Swains Lane, and I've been here all my life, and in a drought, Swains Lane can be wet.
Yes.
And those people have a significant concern about where the water's going to go. As I said, that it's low there, and I don't believe the DOT does a real good job of keeping the ditches cleaned or whatever on Swains Lane. But what you're saying is under option A or B, there would be less water heading that way than there is now.
Yes.
And this water is going to go, I can't tell from this right here, this water is going to go to what ditch?
To the left-hand property line. It's which would be the western property line.
Okay, and that drains into
the swamp.
The swamp.
Yes.
Which ultimately drains into North River, which then goes out into the Albemarle Sound.
Yes, yes. And Swains Lane and those areas, they are very low. It's elevations on the topo, the LIDAR topo, they're elevations of 1 and 2 feet above sea level.
Let me ask you this. Would any of this design improve their lot in life with drainage? Or is this just, are the things you're doing going to do, I know it's not going to adversely affect them according to what you would submit, but is there anything that you would submit that would maybe help improve some of their issue back there, or is it just not even part of?
Well, everything that we are doing and our property is upstream of them.
Right.
And so the only impact we can have is the amount of water flowing down to them. And yes, that will be improved. It's by rule in Currituck County, that will be improved.
And this ditch, will it be improved?
If the engineering
calls for it.
Yes, yes.
It would have to be improved.
If the engineering calls for it, and that's something that is part of the design
and
process.
You would have to get access, easements or whatever to work on the ditch.
Typically, we try to do our design, we try to address our water on our site, reduce flows to the outfall, and the outfall is the outfall. Because classically, we don't have permissions to go and do work on the outfall.
But I just remember we got creative down in Spot.
Yep.
When we had to go across some other properties to help improve the lot of everybody. I was just wondering if that is something that this is a possibility if it works out.
Yes, it's a possibility.
The board would not be opposed to you doing something that helps the folks on Swains Lane is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And to piggyback on what Commissioner O'Neill was saying, no matter which option berm is designed, if your investigation or whatever you do shows any of their drainage being trapped against the berm, you will be putting a ditch on that side of it.
On our property,
And
on
theirs.
their side
If
of the
you- if you discover
berm.
that with either one,
Absolutely.
okay.
That is
Okay,
that is a
funneling-
legal requirement.
Yeah, so that's, so I just,
And
so
that would
you
be
would
funneling.
So that is a possibility
Yes,
of
if
help.
kind of improvement, that's what I was getting at, so there might be some if they have to do.
Okay.
And that would, I mean, and that would, because the last proposal, when you guys came in, there was a few families that lived on Swains Lane. I have some friends that live on Swains Lane. I've, been down there, and like the water was designed where it was going right to Swains Lane. So with this berm and the ditch, or one ditch or two ditch, everything's gonna run from that, not on them, and run west and then to the swamp and the Northwest River.
Correct.
But like, like Commissioner or Chairman O'Neill said, I mean, it possibly could even help them, but it's definitely not gonna hurt them.
Correct. And we, back to the question, the reason we're standing in front of you, we feel like that is a substantial change, a substantial difference from the previous application. And the difference is now being proposed as a result of the feedback and the experience of that application. The other difference being the phasing, because that was also, that no phasing was proposed previously, and that was actually a point of contention in the previous application.
Because we did ask, and they refused. That was part of the discussion. It wasn't a demand at the time, it was an ask, and
You said no.
they said no.
How many lots was it?
45.
No, what's the timing of the phasing? Do we, I mean, is there a,
Can't be more than a year now.
oh, that's true, we changed it, you're right.
That's why I was asking about the number for the phasing.
Okay.
All right. Continue, or are you done? Or you just
Can
answering
answer
questions?
any more questions if you have them.
Any more questions?
I'm fine.
Jenny, does this phasing plan work out to the new?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Jenny.
Got it right here.
Jenny would say yes.
I got it right here.
Okay. All right, Mr. Bissell.
Selena.
Just in closing, I just want to say that the developer is willing to go way above and beyond the UDO requirements in order to make the stormwater work and to try to provide some benefit as this property is developed, some benefit to the Swains Lane people.
So, a question for Jenny, I guess, staff. So if we find substantial difference and approve this to go again, you said it's got to start all the way over from the very beginning.
Correct.
And then we would still have to approve whatever they bring before us.
Except this
Special use
time,
permit, yes.
there's been one change to the UDO, and that's that a project this size now requires a community meeting as well.
It
Yes.
should.
Yeah, and another thing that you and the applicant would need to know, that if we did grant this approval again, it comes back and it doesn't meet the intent of everything we discussed tonight, it would
It could get
be
denied.
another trying to figure it out. So
Could happen.
that's all I would remind everybody, that if the board were to grant a second shot at this, you better make sure you hit the bullseye.
Guarantee, yeah, right.
Point taken.
All right. Any further questions, comments? Well, the board would have to make a motion.
You don't have to, oh, never mind.
Oh,
Just a public comment.
No, there's no-
Not this one.
No sheet.
Not in this one.
Scared me, Mike.
Twice.
No, you're right, not in this, it's not.
yeah.
We still have to make a motion, don't we?
No clip
Yes.
notes.
You still need to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. I see that there's a significant change enough to grant another go with this, I guess, or another,
A substantial material change.
yeah, it's just material change for
reapplication.
reapplication to take effect.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a
Kevin?
second.
Got it, a second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. All right. Next item, consideration of motion to amend PB 26-07, Currituck County text amendment, major subdivisions, that was approved on July 6,
What's the matter?
2026.
So moved.
No, I've got,
No, I tried.
Yeah, let's just wait 1 second.
Yeah, it's just,
I tried.
Yeah.
Can we throw that on with the consent agenda and the board
you
appointments?
better make sure they come back everything right, that's, you know.
Well, 46 houses,
We'll
that's
see.
better than
Yeah,
600.
but we'll see if,
No, it is.
we'll see how it comes back.
Yeah,
We'll see how they design it.
that's
We did
right.
too. All right. Ms. Jarvis, if you're ready, I think
am.
the courthouse is ready to hear.
okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to amend my motion for approval of PB 2607 Currituck County text amendment made on July 6 to incorporate the following revisions, finding that the amendment is in conformance with the general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance and is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including Land Use Goals 1.4 and 1.5, Land Use Policy 2, and Infrastructure and Community Services Goal 1 and 2. Section 2.4.8B of the Unified Development Ordinance shall be amended to read as follows. IV 4, Type 2 subdivisions shall be developed in phases as approved by the Board of Commissioners. Part 5, for Type 2 subdivisions containing 50 lots or fewer, each phase shall contain no more than 20 lots or 50% of the total of the proposed lots, whichever is greater. Part 6, for Type 2 subdivisions containing more than 50 lots, each phase shall contain no more than 35% of the total number of proposed lots or 25 lots, whichever is greater, provided, however, that no phase shall contain more than 50 lots unless otherwise approved by the Board of Commissioners pursuant to this section. Part 7, no more than one phase may be recorded within a 12-month period measured from the recordation date of the previous final plat. Part 8, if the approved preliminary plat contains 3 or more phases, the third phase and each subsequent phase shall not be recorded until building permits have been issued for at least 65% of the lots within the immediately preceding recorded phase. Part 9, for Type 2 subdivisions containing more than 200 lots, the Board of Commissioners may approve an increase to the maximum phase size during the special use permit approval process upon finding that the revised phasing plan provides for the orderly development of the subdivision and adequately addresses infrastructure and public facility impacts. Part 10, when application of the phasing standards would result in the final phase containing fewer than 15 lots, the Board of Commissioners may approve a revised phasing plan to eliminate the final remainder phase, provided the intent of the phasing requirement is maintained. Part 11, the preliminary plat shall identify the proposed phase boundaries and sequence of developments. Final plat shall be submitted in accordance with the approved phasing plan and the requirements of this section. That is my proposal.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 3 of the County Code of Ordinances, Division 15, Library Advisory Board.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you are aware, Earl has dissolved the Eastern Albemarle Regional Library System, and the library is now a county department. And with Earl, there was a library board of trustees. So that no longer exists, and this is an ordinance to create the library advisory board now that the library is a county department, which the board has authority to do under North Carolina General Statute 153A-76 and 77. And the board will be composed of 5 members appointed by you all. And each voting member must be a resident of Currituck County. The county librarian or his or her designee will be a permanent non-voting member, and 1 member of the Board of Commissioners will serve as a non-voting member as well. They will receive the $50 compensation per meeting like all the other advisory boards. And most of the other terms mimic what the other advisory boards have, with the exception of the powers and duties are delegated to the Library Advisory Board to formulate and suggest programs, policies, and regulations for the government of the library to the library director, to make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners concerning the construction and improvement of buildings and other structures of the library system, to extend the privileges and use of the library system to non-residents of the county on any terms or conditions the Library Advisory Board may prescribe, and to otherwise advise the library director on library matters. This does require a unanimous vote because there is currently a vacancy. You can vote on it tonight, but it will not be officially adopted until the next meeting if a majority votes on it at that second meeting.
Could you read that again?
If you want me to.
I have a quick question. Why 5 members instead of 7?
I think that was just something that was a lot of these were suggested by the library director, and they were the terms kind of mimicked the Board of Trustees and how it originally existed. But if the county manager has any other input.
I think also with your recent amendments to other boards, you reduced many of the board
Down to 5.
members
So
down
there's
to
some
5 from 7.
Would they be consensus appointments?
They'd have to be, unless every member gets an appointment, they have to be.
So they would be consensus. I don't know if
yes.
I don't think it says that in there, but that would be.
I don't think it does.
I think it's important to include that in the.
Yes. So if you do decide to do that, which I would recommend, whoever decides to make the motion, you can include that as an edit, and staff will make sure to include consensus appointments in the ordinance.
Is the current Board of Trustees aware of this, that they're going to be dissolved?
I believe so, with Earl.
Earl doesn't exist anymore.
Or, I mean, Earl doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
They'd have to know by
So
now.
I would think.
Well, the reason I'm asking is, I did reach out to one today and ask what they thought about this, and they were like, they acted dumbfounded, to be honest.
Right. Well, they existed under the regional library system, which no longer exists. So just by operation of law, they would no longer exist, and this would take its place now that it's a county department.
So do you know how many people served on the Board of Trustees?
Was it 5?
So we have Currituck County Library Foundation, and then there was the Currituck County Library Board, and then there was Earl.
Okay.
So if we're dissolving Earl, and Currituck County current board though, but they are down members, and in the last meeting, we said to them, when it comes a county entity, we will codify that board just like all of our other ones and make it match. So it was discussed in their last.
So
meeting.
those that have been serving, I guess, could be eligible to serve on this?
As long as they're a county resident.
County resident.
And there's an application process
Yes.
for that, right?
So the application process is the same as our other advisory boards?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a check mark on there for library.
It is.
We just need to add a consensus to
Yeah,
this.
it's under
There's only
section
5.
2.112.
I'm just going to say, at some point, the only 5 is going to come back when one member feels like they're not allowed to appoint somebody.
Once again, that's why we need to put consensus. Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of boards with 5.
Right. So either we could do that, or if you would rather make it a 7-member board, you could do that as well.
And this item, section 2, 115, we shall have the right to remove any member appointed at will. Is that for all advisory boards?
Should be.
We've removed
Yes.
plenty.
Yes.
Okay. None since I've been on.
Kevin's the master. All right, so we need if everybody's in agreement with this, we need a motion and agree that.
That's under section point. I'll make the motion.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to approve the creation of the Library Advisory Board by adding and amending the information that's in the agenda packet, section 2-122, member composition, to say the Library Advisory Board shall be made up of 5 members appointed by consensus by the Board of Commissioners.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I forgot to say it.
What?
Aye. For yes.
Aye.
If you don't
Okay.
say no, it's still yes.
Okay, next item is STI local input points for regional impact.
So moved.
We have a motion for approval.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is sole source. I thought those were put on the consent agenda. But we won't do that tonight.
Yeah, we could next time.
Okay,
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a sole source resolution for the purchase of Camstrup Water, I may not be saying that right, Water Metering LLC water meters, equipment, and related parts and products from Fortiline, Inc. through the authority that this board has pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-129E6. And staff recommends approval.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is board appointments. Opioid Advisory Board, reappoint Jesse Taylor and to serve a full 2-year term, and appoint DJ Copese to fill an unexpired term beginning ending July 15th, 27. And Social Services Board appointment, Dr. Keisha Taylor to serve a 3-year term expiring June 2029. You have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 7 is consent agenda.
Motion for approval.
I have a motion for approval.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, Commissioners' Report. I'm going to start with you tonight, Ms. Rose. Give Kevin a break so he has time to think of something.
I'm good.
I don't have much. I would just like to ask at the next meeting if we could get an update on the drainage issues in the county. I know we contracted with someone to fix. I'd just like to know how far along we are with that. And also, any information we can get on what's going on with their ferry.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Payment?
I have nothing tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Jarvis?
Just that the Opioid Advisory Board met Thursday before last, and we had a very good turnout, and I just want to thank the staff that was present. I want to thank the community that came together. I think we had somewhere around 20 people around the table in the Public Safety Building, and it was a great turnout and great discussions to save lives. And we are planning our second Walk Against Addiction in January, again, in 2027, so that is very exciting as well. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. McCord?
Nothing.
Mr. Angel?
Couple things. One, I get to go to the 2026 Donkey Derby over on the 4x4 Friday. Make everybody jealous. I served as an honorary judge of the apple pie contest. It was all fantastic. Congratulations to Dee Dee Davis for making the best apple pie. It was good. The only other thing I've got, Mr. County Manager, you were out last week, so I could not call you, but I was contacted about a lady that was asking or inquiring about sand removal from the walking path, especially on the northern end of the Corolla. There's some sections over there. That walking path's like 10 foot wide, and there's some sections over there that are like 2.5, 3 foot. And I guess people are just going out and blowing it with a
Yeah, I think it's
blower,
going
and
to take
not-
more than a blower. I think somebody's going to have to get behind a shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you could please inquire on that one.
Is that it? Mr.
Yeah.
Payment said he had one other
I
thing.
just had to make for anybody out there listening or for anybody on the board too, I do have a at-large Currituck appointment for the Albemarle Regional Health position. usually I had a registered nurse in the county. She moved out of the state. So, somebody in the medical field or something related to close to that, if you know of anybody, if anybody's interested, contact me or contact Leanne, and she'll get with me on that. But I do have an opening for, and I can talk to you some more about that.
Commissioner Rose watches Grey's Anatomy a lot.
Okay. So that's all. I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody's listening.
Okay, and I have nothing to report, other than summer's half over, and it's just gone by so quick. But anyways, county manager's report,
No report.
county attorney's report.
Just briefly, Ms. Turner and I are attending the Incident Command System training this week. It's a 3-day lengthy training on Incident Command. And then the latter part of the week, I'm attending the County Attorney's Conference at Riceville Beach. So that's it.
All right.
Such a sad look.
And at this time, I'm going to make a motion that we go into,
Oh, never mind.
Do you want to mention about the first meeting in August?
Stayed on the ocean.
yeah, it's possible if we don't have any planning items or whatever, that we will not meet the first meeting in August.
Yes.
But staff is going to confirm that for us, if the board approves.
Absolutely,
okay.
with all the
So we'll
June
get
meetings we
adequate
had.
public notice out. We met 1,000 times in June all over the county, and we've been on the road quite a bit. And if there's no business, there's no need to waste the taxpayers' money.
Okay.
Next, I'm going to make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A6 to discuss personnel matters.
Second.
Third.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right.